Been recorded. So, there's a few things we want to do for this yet. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the area of the printed circuit board. Because look at it, it's that big with a circuit that big. Crazy. So I'm going to go over here where it says board outline on the left hand side. See my mouse? Board outline. Double click on that. And then what I can do is, if I go down to one of these control points here, I can click on it and I can drag that yellow box about. Can be a little bit tricky the first time, but you see it gets a dotted line around it. And you can also make really complicated shape printed circuits. You can make heart-shaped ones and circles and all the rest of it, if you wish to do so. So look at that. So now that's a much better PCB, isn't it? It's sort of roughly the right size, and the components fit nicely on board. Again, it's like an art form. It's like drawing a painting or drawing a picture. You know, the more you play with it, usually the better it gets, and you can make it look aesthetically pleasing. It will still do the same job, even if it looks ugly, but it can do things that mean that anyone that looks at it thinks, nice design. What do they mean by nice design? It's just where you put the bits. So it looks right. So there we are, I'm happy with that. But what haven't I got? Well, I haven't got any copper. I've got a load of pads on there, and I've got a load of through holes for the components. So if I send this off to PCB way, they'll make me a board with holes drilled in it. I'll even have little copper pads where the components sit. But I won't have any interconnects because I've got a rat's nest. I haven't told them where the copper is. So the next stage that I need to do is I need to, down the bottom here, now this can get quite messy to find, but you'll see you've got lots of different little drop downs here. So parts, part groups, nets, that's one of the ones in there, SMT pads, through pads. But what we're going to do is we're going to try and go to copper layers, which is over towards the right hand side. Copper layers is what we're looking for. So in other words, we're going to lay down some copper now. Now, Multisim can do multi-layer boards. Copper on the top, bottom, or it can put it in the middle of a sandwich. Okay, we're not going to go into sandwiches, but we do quite routinely use two layers. In this design, we only need one layer. And we're going to put that layer on the bottom. So just like you were soldering in the lab there, you've got the plastic on the top, and you've got the copper on the bottom. Now to be able to do that, the copper top in here, I'll turn him off. So the copper top is off, and the copper bottom is on. That's correct. So now, because we've done that, we've told the machine that we don't want any copper on the top, but we want it on the bottom. Now what we can do is we can go over here. I've got to remind myself now. No, that's... Where's the auto route gone? Yeah, no, I'm looking straight at what I want, sorry, that's one go. So you go to auto route, and you do start auto router, click on it, and magic! That rat's nest has now gone from yellow to red.
Yes.
That means we now have copper on the bottom. Magic, that's what we want. So now if we send off the Gerber files, in other words the files that we save, PCB way, we get back something that we can actually make, because it's got connections on it. But, if you look at those wires there, and you know how big that resistor is, it's that big, right? So if I look at how big those copper tracks are, they're about the thickness of one of my heads.
Sir, my observer is where it comes from the green color.
That's because you've selected the bottom layer rather than the top layer. So Shane, go into the top of those, turn off the bottom, turn on the top, and then click auto originate. Okay, so you've got that. Well, those red tracks on there, that fits in one of my heads. When they make that, to make that copper, they put it into what's called ferric chloride, or they used to use probably something even more obnoxious now, and they dissolve the copper to be able to do it. Now it's pretty accurate, but it's not that accurate, and if you've got something that's that thin, it's liable to dissolve the track itself so that you think you've got a printed circuit board and you haven't. So what's the golden rule in printed circuit boards? Try and make the tracks as wide as you possibly can, because then it means that the manufacturing process is so much more straightforward. It also uses less chemicals in the manufacturing process as well. So if I want to make these tracks bigger, well, I can do that because, where are we now in the bottom here? Nets, that's the one I want. Nets. Nets, yeah, nets. I'm just going to try and make this a bit bigger so you can see what we're doing. Here we go, drag that up. So, you can see I've got 3 nets. Well, I have got 3 nets. 1, 2, and the ground, which is 3. You might think there's 4, 5, 6 there, but no, there's only 3 nets. There's only 3 unique positions on them. And what I can do here is I can go down to where it says trace width, and it says 10 in here, doesn't it? Well, I can click on that, and let's make that 100 and see what happens. So 100, click away. Oh, look at that. I've made the copper track, that's why. That's good. Because I want a nice fat red track there, don't I? So let's do that to the other one. And let's make that one 100. Bang. And finally, let's make the bottom one 100. I could just click on it. If I click here, look, it highlights the one down here. And go to 100, click here, and doesn't that look now start to look quite smart? So I've got some really fat copper tracks on there, they're not fouling any of the other copper tracks. Definitely going to manufacture really nicely. And PCBY are going to think this person knows what they're doing because they've made nice fat tracks to make the manufacturing process easy. So they will put the copper on there for you, or rather they don't put it on there, they'll etch it off so it is a certain colour. They'll drill the holes for you. They will put what's called a mask on there, so where you see J1, J2, J3 and J4, they will put that writing on there for you. But we don't want that writing. So let's go in there and play about with it. So let's go into J1. And let's call it something else. So let's call it AC in. Alternating current in. Yeah, that's better. Let's call this one down here. Let's call in GND for ground. Okay. Not happy where that is, so I'm going to move that a little bit. That's a bit better there. Not happy with that either. Drag that a little bit. Again, this is artwork, I'm just enjoying myself. And here I'm going to put filter out. And filter out. You call it what you want. Don't be bound by what I do. Should have had a caption there, so double click again to get back into it. Filter out. And this one here is also a ground, so let's put it in GND. It's not J. GND, and click OK. Yeah, well, that's okay, I don't have a problem with it. So it's not going to let me call it that because I've already got one called, so GND. Underscore 1, or yeah, there's way So there we have it. Yeah? Don't want that on top of the copper because it's not going to come out very well. So I'm going to put it here. I'll put this one here. Okay, great. This is really good. So you see, without terribly much effort, we've nearly got a production printed circuit board. I think what else we want to do on here is we want our logo, right? So let's put some information on there. Let's put some graphics on there, yeah? So we could put a picture on there if we wanted to, but I just want to put some text on here. And I want to put text, and you can see I've got a text window here. My nickname is Woodo, so I'm going to put Woodo Enterprises here, and I'm going to drag that in here somewhere. Okay, I'm happy with that. Press escape, and I want to do another one that says low pass filter. And I'm going to place that in there. Something like that. That'll do. Okay. So that's my printed circuit. Does it look like a printed circuit board? A bit. But what we can do is we can put this into the 3D viewer and we can see what it actually looks like in real life. So View 3D, which is under Tools, look at that. Look at that. So I've now gone from half, 3/4 of an hour ago, a drawing, to something that's physically realised with all the labelling on it that I could send off to a printed circuit board manufacturer and I could make that. Obviously I wouldn't make something that simple, but we have to start simple to sort of get the hang of things. Okay, so to find that 3D viewer, you're in the Tools. Well, it won't let me do it now, but you're in at the bottom of Tools, it's got 3D view. And then you can just spin it round using the mouse. And you can see your design.